Test, 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 test. Hello, guys, and welcome back. Test, 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 test. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to once again another live stream here on the VB Thomas platform, sponsored by Demo Invest, well, provided to you by Demo Invest. I hope you all are fine on this fine evening. We're going to be racing in Season 7, Round 10 of the Brazilian Grand Prix here in Axis Mainstream Racing Series. Yeah. And, you know, it is going to be Brazil today. A very difficult track for plenty of people, but the racing around this track is absolutely beautiful. We are around the José Carlos Pace circuit here in Sao Paulo, if I'm not mistaken. And Dom Walsh seems to be the first one to come around the last corner. No, it's actually a Mercedes driver, and that might be Grimo in P9. And this is not Grimo, it is Vexman. The Mercedes team have been very consistent these last couple of races, putting themselves in the top 2 of the Constructors' Championship, if I am not mistaken. Yes, indeed, they overtook the AlphaTauri team last week. AlphaTauri, unfortunately, had only one driver for the main part of the season. Last week, they had Molson added to the team. Molson, who did DNF in his first race in the AlphaTauri car. But hopefully he's going to be able to do a little bit better while being in contention with that Mercedes team. Haas is still up top, but with Liquid Gas being the only driver in that team, Mercedes could score some decent points for the team today, and hopefully putting themselves in a P1 in the Constructors' battle. And the interesting part is if Vexman and Grimo both get into the top 5, and Liquid Gas crashes out today, I think Mercedes takes that first place in the Constructors with only 2 more races to go. This, of course, is the third last race of the season. Then we also have, if I'm not mistaken, Qatar and, let me do a double check just to make sure, calendar-wise, Qatar and Imola. So we're going to be ending the season in Imola, which is a challenging track. Not many overtaking opportunities, but the racing around there is absolutely beautiful. Don Walsh, who comes across the line to put himself on pole for now. Dean Khan is definitely the one to look at, as you might go on board with the Williams driver. Turn 1 hard braking zone, taking a lot out of curb down the entry. Also in turn 2 and turn 3, you want to take as much curb as possible. Turn 3, you do have to watch out because you don't want to take too much curb down the inside when you're in the race. Into turn 4, hard braking zone, 90 degrees corner, taking a lot of curb down the entry and also down the exit, as that will give you the most rotation coming through that corner. Turn 5, fast left-hander, and then you're going into turn 6 and 7. Turn 6, a very fast right-hander. You have to lift a little bit, but don't touch the brakes because you will lose a lot of time. Turn 8 right now, taking a lot of curb down the entry. Turn 9, also a lot of curb to be taken down the entry. And then we've got turn 10, hard brake zone. Good overtaking opportunity for many of the people, as you will be able to make a dive bomb down the inside. Fast on the throttle coming out of turn 10. Turn 11, a long left-hander. Then we've got turn 12, hard braking zone, 90 degrees corner, taking as much curb on the entry as possible and also on the exit. And it seems like Don Walsh Dean Khan actually is doing an amazing job here in Brazil. And we've got a long straight. Only 2 DRS opportunities here around Brazil. It's the start-finish straight, and then, of course, coming out of turn 3, you've got that long DRS straight. Dean Khan putting himself on pole for now with a 1.9.0. And Liquid Gas is currently still in the pit lane, as we might be seeing him on pole later tonight. Thomas is also on the fast one. He did invalidate his lap, so we might be seeing Thomas struggle today. He's currently still in P2 in the Drivers' Championship, but that might be changing. I don't think it is going to be changing because he's got way too many points ahead of Don Walsh. Don Walsh, who's back in the game. He wasn't there for the last couple of weeks, but he's back in the game in the Alfa Romeo car. And then, of course, we have got Grimo, who's doing an amazing job trying to get back to that top 3. And he eventually got there. You know, last week he got a good result. Don Walsh wasn't there, so he managed to benefit from that, putting himself in P3 in the Drivers' Championship. And maybe he's up for a top 2. You never know if Thomas is going to... I don't think he's going to be able to do that, because I think Thomas is more than... I don't know, actually. Let me have a quick look. I can't read it on screen, so I'll have to look on my phone. Driver standings wise, we are looking... Why is it showing constructors? So Grimo is 39 points behind. So he needs to win every race in order to get that. And I don't think that'll be possible, because the point system here in this league is a little bit different. I think the winner scores 15 points, and then we go all the way to P10. But they're thinking about giving everyone points when they finish, which is lovely to hear. I am a big fan of that. In my own event, I give everyone points who scores 2. I do 25, 23, 21, 19, 17, 15, and 14, 13, 12, 11, and then all the way to P20. And I feel like it works in a team format. It works in a team format, but I'm not sure whether it's going to work for a race where you're able to win something by yourself, not as a team, but as yourself. I think there needs to be a bigger gap between P1 and P2, not just 2 points. And Thomas putting himself in P4. I think he lost a bit of time coming through Sector 2. Sector 2 is a very technical one. You've got turn 8, turn 10, turn 9. Turn 9 is probably the corner where you can gain the most time out of every corner here in Brazil. Because it's such a technical one. There are different lines that you can take. Many people take a very tight line coming through turn 9. But what you have to try is go into a lower gear. Wait, let me have a quick think. Go into a lower gear, go a little bit deeper, and then try to have a better exit going onto the curb on the exit. I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but I used to take that one. Back in the F122 game, I used to run 1.6s. So 1.6.6, if I'm not mistaken, was my best time, or 1.6.4. But, I mean, these cars are, of course, way slower, so we have to take that in mind. Liquid Gas putting himself on pole for now, a 1.8.8. And I feel like Dean Con, he's been put in the Williams team, in the Williams car. Obviously, Williams being the slowest car out of every car on the grid. I feel like it's right. Last week he was in the Alfa Romeo and he was just demolishing the whole grid. But today in the Williams, it seems like he's not having it as easy as he had last week and the week before. He got in Belgium, he got a decent pole. By quite a bit of time. Grimo putting himself in P3, right where he is supposed to be. We might want to go on board with Molson. I think gets Smurf crashed into the wall, if I'm not mistaken, because he is already DNF from this race. Well, from this qualifying. A 127.8, which is about 16 to 17 seconds slower than the rest of the grid. Hybrid places on another lap. He's the only one who hasn't set a great time yet. So we might want to go on board with that Ferrari car. Just came out of the pit. And I think Dean Con, Blood Diamond might be on another one. I thought he wasn't coming. Oh no, it was the other Blood guy. Blood. I've only commentated one race from him, I think, which was Miami. It was Blood, I don't know, Blood something. Dean Con might be able to give a small tow to the Ferrari driver, or the Mercedes driver is going to do that. I'm not sure, but both of those guys will come into the pits. They do know that hybrid places on the night lap, so they shouldn't worry too much, especially because there is only one Ferrari driver on the track and like in the game. Usually when there is two, there's one like two drivers on a lap. Well, one on a night lap, one on a fast lap. You never know whether the guy behind you is on a fast lap or a night lap, and that is always going to cause a little bit of chaos because you don't know whether you can keep your line. Blood Monetizer is really under Blood. Thank you, Liquid. Blood Monetizer, that's the guy. Wasn't he the drummer? I think he was a drummer, wasn't he? Or like a music maker? He should drop. You know what? If he drops a song, I'll play it as an intro here in the live stream. That would be quite funny. Here comes Dean Con coming through turn 4. Didn't seem like he had the fastest first sector. So he might be backing out of it already. Oh, we might want to look at the Ferrari driver, Hybrid Place. Because he hasn't set a time yet. And last week he was pretty decent, putting himself in the top 5 if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to come into Sector 3 in a second. Well, he's just entered Sector 2. And this is the turn 9 I was talking about. He's taken a lot of curb there. And I don't think that's the way to go in turn 9, but I could be wrong. Maybe the lines have changed or anything. I have no idea, but it's definitely not how I should take it. I would take it. How I would take it. Maybe I should put a lap date on at the telemetry. Here comes Hybrid Place. Down the straight he goes. Around the last corner. And what will it be for the Ferrari driver? It'll be a 1:8.7, putting himself on pole. That came out of nowhere. Hybrid Place has done some practice. The Ferrari driver putting himself on a provisional pole, but we have got many time, well, much time still on the board. So we will be able to see some guys coming out of the pits and try to beat that time. A 1:8.7 is definitely beatable, because liquid gas is only 32 thousandths away from that time. Deancon, who's now on a lap, I think he's just doing some practice laps, trying to get, you know, a bit of practice in the tires, a bit of practice in the wheel. I don't know if he's racing with a wheel or a controller, but both, I mean, well, either one of them is very fast, because I know a couple of controller players and they're absolutely beasts. And then you've got a couple of wheel drivers who are a little bit slower, and, you know, it doesn't always, the way of how you drive doesn't always reflect on with what you drive, if that makes sense. We might want to go on board with Deancon here. He's going to go for another one. I don't think he's got enough time to... Well, he's got enough time to come around and then do a couple of more laps and then come into the pits, put on some new tires and then come out again. Mandy apparently doesn't feel very confident, is what he says in the chat. Don't worry about it too much, Mandy. You'll do great. Just keep it consistent. Brazil is a track where you need to be consistent and stay out of trouble. That is the most consistent way of how you can get a good position around Brazil. Because many people will crash due to tire overheating issues, tire wear. Brazil, very tire wear. Kind of, how do you say that? Dependable? Is that a word? I don't think it's a word. It is. Tire wear is quite high here in Brazil, so you need to watch out. I think a soft medium would work, but you would be struggling. And it's also 36 laps, so you have to run quite a few laps on those tires. But the track is very small, and the lap is very short, so you shouldn't worry too much about tire wear. I mean, I think tire overheating is a bigger issue than tire wear, but I could be wrong. I haven't streamed too many races on Brazil. Usually it's late in the season and I'm not there anymore. My younger brother and only played the game for 2 months. Oh, he's your younger brother. I didn't know. Hybrid Place. What a lap. He's definitely done some practice. Oh, a 1:8.7 is not easy to set. Baxman is on a fast one, improving by, I think his last time was improved by 9 tenths. Jamie in the chat, I had to do some track acclimatization, and that is, of course, Deancon. He tried to find the right lines coming through the corners here in Brazil, which is very important because you can gain a lot of time through there. I feel like Brazil is one of the most beautiful racing tracks out there. Together with, you know, I'm going to say something probably controversial, but the most beautiful racing track, so where the racing is the most beautiful, is probably either, let me have a quick think. So I'm gonna say Brazil, one of the most beautiful racing tracks, so where guys are always having battles with each other. But the most beautiful track, oh, Silverstone might be there too. Most beautiful racing track, Silverstone might be there too. But the most track in general, like scenery and how where the track lays, is probably Belgium. Spa-Francorchamps. I'm not gonna say I'm biased, but I'm a little bit biased. Doesn't matter too much. But it is a beautiful track. It's in the middle of the woods, and oh man, it is absolutely amazing. No, but Brazil, probably the most beautiful racing track together with Silverstone. Like, the racing is always good in Brazil. And then you also have just the most beautiful track. As in, the most beautiful how the corners are, how smooth a lap is, probably Qatar. I really love to race around Qatar, and I really love to commentate on Qatar races, because the racing is usually nice. Oh, Bahrain is also a very good racing track. Yeah, Bahrain is also a very good racing track. As in the track, but also the racing itself. Money in the chat says, let's try to not get P10. That is a good goal. Oh, Hybrid Blaze is up on his time entering Sector 2. He's up by 1.5 tenths. I think he's definitely going to be able to improve here if he can keep up the pace of his last lap. He just needs to run the same time, and he's going to improve by 1.5 tenths. Here he comes around turn 8. Into turn 9. Oh, loses the car. That might not going to give him improvement. We will see coming out of turn 11, but I think he already backed out of it. I could be wrong. Might want to go for another one. If he has enough ERS saved. Lost about a second doing that. Maybe a second and a half. I don't know how much he was up by. But that is definitely, you're going to be seeing something, well, a couple of times here around Brazil. Coming out of turn 9, guys don't have too much traction on their tires. And that might be why you want to upshift a little bit, like short shift a little bit, to avoid spinning coming out of that corner. And I know I said earlier that you have to run a lower gear. I meant a higher gear. So, oh, Vexman cut the whole corner. I don't think this is Vexman's favorite track, because he's not doing a very great job at the moment. At 110.0, he's probably not going to be able to come around the track. Oh yeah, no, he is. He's going to have one more chance. How much ERS does he have saved? He needs to save the ERS, though. I don't know if he's actually saving ERS. Could be wrong. Let's go on board with Liquid Gas, because he is going to try and get that pole position here tonight for the Haas team. Coming around the last corner, he goes down the straight, taking a lot of curb there. It's not really a corner. Kind of is a corner. I wouldn't consider it a corner, but we'll call it the corner. Into turn 1, into turn 2. Has to watch out for the track limits in turn 2 and turn 1, of course. Definitely don't want to catch track limits in the first couple of corner sections. And he's up on his time already. So he's 800s up on his time. That would put him in pole for now. Just needs to keep that pace consistent. We saw Hybrid Blaze fuck it up earlier coming out of turn 9. This is going to be turn 9, so we might want to go on board with Liquid Gas. No, we don't. We have a better view through here. And he's not going to fuck it up. Runs a higher gear. Probably has short shifted coming out of turn 9. And, oh, has a little bit of a slip there coming out of turn 10. Into turn 11. That does mean the tires are getting a bit overheated coming out of, well, coming into Sector 2. He does improve by 1.5 tenths at the moment. Let's see how much time he gained by in Sector 3. Down the straight he goes, and it will probably be pole time for Liquid Gas. Across the line he comes. Pole time for Liquid Gas. A 1.8.6. Not bad at all. Let's see if any of the guys are going to be... Monster putting himself in P5. Surprising P5. Well done, Monster. I know you... I believe in you. I believe in you. You did great. Vexman, not up in his time. This is really not Vexman's track, is it? 1 second slower. He's just going to come across the line to... Well, to come back into the pits, because the qualifying is over here in Brazil. And he's done a great job. He's done a great job. Well done, Vexman. That will be your qualifying here in Brazil. Liquid Gas takes pole, but a surprising P2 shows up here in Brazil. Hybrid Blaze for the Ferrari team, putting himself in P2 with 1.8.7. We've got Dean Con not too far behind with a 1.8.8. And also Blood Diamond and Monster to put themselves in the top 5. Jamie in the chat, Dean, aka Dean Con, says, not a great lap by myself, but we'll get them in the race. So he's a little bit too confident. Not, well, I'm not going to say too confident. He's confident of his case. And between the top 4, we only have 3 tenths of a difference, which is not too much of a gap. Only a couple of hundreds away from Monster to Grimo. Thomas with a surprising P7 and Tom Walsh with a surprising P8. So these guys, Thomas has not been there lately. These last couple of races during the qualifying, he was not really there. But Tom Walsh, his pace has really dropped down. P3. Well, he used to be P3 in the qualifying, in the drivers' championship. He's currently in P8 in the qualifying. He's definitely lost some pace, not being able to practice over the last couple of weeks. But I wouldn't have expected a P8. That is in the lower half of the grid, and I mean, he really needs to up his pace. Maybe he's a bit of a race merchant where he's going to be consistent and putting consistent laps throughout the race. But this pace, I hope this pace isn't showing in the race. Might be running a race setup. I don't know what the settings are for setups. Is it park firmly or is it park firmly off? Because if it's park firmly off, the guys can basically switch between qualifying setups and race setups. If park firmly is on, that means that they cannot switch between setups. So they either have to run a qualifying setup in the race or a race setup in the qualifying. And I know the guys cannot ready up yet, so I'm just gonna have a quick listen on the live stream to see whether the quality is alright. I hope you guys are happy with it. I did some tweaking yesterday, but oh wait, okay. Okay, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Still not happy with it, but I guess it is what it is. I'm just gonna check one message, because it was quite an important one. I should've known better if I was a king. And we're waiting in the chat, we're waiting in the chat. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I can start singing the F1 theme song, hold up. Bum bum bum. Bum bum ba-da-dum. Bum bum ba-da-dum. Ba ba-da-da ba 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 ba. Ba 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 da da ba 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 da da ba 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 da da ba 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 bum 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 ba da da. And then all the way to the end of the song. All right, here we go. We have got 20 people on the medium tires. A couple of guys on the hard tires. Well, we've got 12 drivers on the grid. So 4 drivers on the hards. That means that 1/3 is on the hards, 2/3 is on the mediums. And the top 2 have gone for the medium tires. We've got Dean Con starting on the hard tires. Then we've got Blood Diamond Monster and Grimo on the mediums. Thomas and Don Walsh Boiler starting on the hard tires. So we might see them lose a couple of positions. So are we going to see Dean Con probably lose a couple of positions, because those hards are really not ideal for a race start. You always see hard tire runners getting overtaken by the guys behind them when they're running mediums or softs. And that might be happening to Thomas and Don Walsh too. I think Thomas is a little bit more safe because Don Walsh is going to try and keep them up. I think it's very difficult to make a two-way overtake here in Brazil, because it's a very tight corner. The distance from the start to the first corner is not that long, so you don't really have a lot of time to make the overtake and have a better traction coming out of the line. And you know, turn 1 doesn't have a lot of runaway room around the outside either, so it's not like you can make a move around the outside, because then that means you have the inside line in turn 2 and you usually get overtaken. So you really need to be careful with the race starts here in Brazil. But I think that won't be a problem for these guys here in Brazil tonight. Sao Paulo is where the guys are going to be racing here from AXS Mainstream Racing Series. As I said before, this live stream is provided by Demo Invest, so make sure to check out Gregory Mortier _official on Instagram, and he'll be able to give you all the information that you need on investing into stock. He's also partnered with a school system, so make sure to check that out. We've got 5 red lights here for season 7, round 10 of the AXS Mainstream Racing League Racing Series. And it's 5 red lights, and away we go. Liquid Gas has a pretty good start, but so did Dean Con. He's already gonna try and make the overtake on Liquid Gas, but he just not made it there quite yet. Blood Diamond, what happened to Hybrid Blaze? He got overtaken quite fast there. I think Deacon wants to go for it already. Hybrid Blaze in P3. He dropped back a position. So you might want to go on board with the position here. Oh, Thomas making the overtake on Monster. Monster lost 2 positions there during that race start, which is not bad. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either. He definitely wants to gain those 2 positions back, but Grimo and Thomas just have been so consistent throughout the race in the last couple of races. So Monster shouldn't worry at all. They might make a mistake going further into the race. They might make a mistake strategy-wise. You never know. So just keep it concentrated, Monster. I know you're listening. You can do this, mate. Hybrid Blaze still in P3. Lost 1 position, but Deacon with a great start there. I think that is definitely reflecting on the pace he's had the last couple of weeks. Currently in that Williams car, and the Williams car might have more traction coming off the line. That could be the case here for the Williams team. Here comes Deacon down the straight. He goes. A lot of straight line speed by the Williams driver. Already is going down the inside, and his tires might not be overheating here. And a lot of room given by a Liquid Gas. Beautiful sportsmanship-like driving, as we know here in Axis Mainstream Racing Series. Might want to go back to the front, to the back of the pack. Vexman gained the position. Didn't really have a great qualifying, and it doesn't seem like he gained too many positions here. Don Walsh trying to get past Monster at the moment. Coming into turn 4, hard braking zone. Needs to take as much curb as possible on the exit, and he does so, but it doesn't seem like Monster got tricked there. Don Walsh might need to make a dive bomb into turn 8 if he has a good exit. Doesn't look like it. Has a little bit of a snap. Still in the tail of the McLaren driver, but he's not going to go for a move yet. And it's a long DRS train at this point. Blood Diamond losing the toe off Liquid Gas at the moment. Although he's caught back up, I don't know why that says 1.4 seconds, because it's definitely not 1.4 seconds between those guys. Right at the last corner goes Deacon in the lead of the race. He gained 2 positions already, and it seems like he's definitely doing a great job here in Brazil. Liquid Gas might want to go for that again. Has a bit of slipstream and is using a little bit of ERS. Around the outside he goes. We saw Deacon go down the inside earlier, and I think the inside line is definitely the way to go. Almost takes out Liquid Gas there. Had to brake a little bit earlier because Liquid Gas kind of cut that corner a little bit, or cut this line a little bit. Blood Diamond is keeping up with the guys in P2 and P1. Grimo lost a bit of time there, 1.2 seconds. Did gain a position on Hybrid Blaze. Hybrid Blaze is now rapidly losing positions. Also, Monster is losing a position to Vexman there. Oh, and they're going side by side. 2 people are going side by, well, 4 people going side by side. Oh, and I think someone is in the wall. That is Vexman, unfortunately. First, a virtual safety car here in round 10 of the Season 7 calendar. And Vexman doesn't have a front wing anymore, so he'll have to come into the pits. And not the race he's wanted. Unfortunately enough, he didn't really have the race start he wanted. He didn't have the qualifying he wanted. So it's going to be starting all over again after this virtual safety car. And just keep it consistent. You know, you won't be battling with anyone. You can just keep it in the clean air and try to catch up. In case there would be a late safety car, anything can happen. You know, switching on to those soft tires at the end of the race will definitely give you a bit of a head start with that safety car restart. But you never know whether there is going to be a safety car, because usually around Brazil there might be 1 or 2, speaking from experience. So that might be later throughout the race, but now it is going to be our first virtual safety car, and the DRS will be enabled after this lap. Liquid Gas seems to be taking some distance from Deacon. Also, Blood Diamond sticking around that 8-10 gap. Primo trying to get back into the DRS detection zone. Monster. The guys cannot make the overtake yet. It's still a virtual safety car, and I think Mike Taylor wanted to go for it already. He was hoping for that green flag, and here we go, green flag, and he loses the front wing. The guys were touching the brakes rather heavily, and I think that was Hybrid Blaze who was touching the brakes a bit too heavy there. And that caught Monster Molson and Mike Taylor off guard, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Taylor, who's now just lost the front wing. Well, a part of his front wing. He didn't really lose the whole front wing. But Hybrid Blaze starting in P2 in this qualifying session. Well, in the race. And he lost 5 positions. So he's back to P7 at the moment. Not great of a start for Hybrid Blaze. And I know that Trem, well, I don't know if he's actually listening, but the Ferrari driver, he's unfortunately not there tonight. So these are some big points lost for the Ferrari team. Might want to go on board with Thomas here right on the tail of Grimo. He's gained 2 positions in total, and those hard tires are definitely playing a big part in his race pace at the moment, because if he weren't on the hards, he might have been able to catch up to the top 3. But now these two are having a heated battle, and they're losing time lap in, lap out. Here comes Thomas down the inside with the use of the RS. Grimo, nothing he can do about that. And also Monster wants to go down the inside, making the overtake with the use of the RS. Beautiful overtake there from the McLaren driver. Already gained 1 position back up. Also because I think... No, I don't think. Never mind. I was going to say something stupid. Monster back in P6. Wants to catch up back to Grimo and Thomas. Oh, and the Ferrari driver spun. He's on the grass. Also, the AlphaTauri driver on the grass. I think both of the drivers either had a collision with each other. Oh, and get Smurf retired from the session. In the wall. So that will be our first safety car. And that was a very heavy crash by the Red Bull driver. As you can see, his car in the middle of the track there. So it's quite logical that there is going to be a safety car here in lap 5 out of the 36. Still 31 more laps to go. And I feel like tracks where there's a lot of laps... those races take forever. I don't know why. It's just because, you know, you see the track more than usual other tracks. I think 36 is one of the most laps you can do. I think it is the most laps around the F1 calendar, if I'm not mistaken. I think the least amount of laps is Belgium, because it's the longest track, and a lap takes the longest around Belgium. Let me have a quick think how many laps there are around Belgium. It's either 18 or 21. Or 20. Or 22. I have no idea. Can anyone give me some information on that? How many laps is Belgium? Oh no, it might be 25, isn't it? No, that's Saudi Arabia. And a lap around Saudi Arabia... No, that'll probably be 18 laps then for Belgium. I actually don't know. I need to look that up. I really need to look that up. Belgium amount of laps F1. And then just divide it by 2. How much laps does every F1 race have? 44, so it's 22 in Belgium. Yes, indeed. 61. 44, it is indeed Belgium. And Belgium actually, well, I won't really have to give the Belgian information. I'll give the Brazil information. The Autodromo José Carlos Pace has a distance of 4.3 kilometers in total, and the actual F1 race takes 71 laps around this track. So that is why there is 36 laps today. 71 divided by 2 is 35.5. But obviously the guys are rounding it up to 36. I'm giving you wrong information. It's 4.309 kilometers. You know what the funny thing is? The Mexican Grand Prix is almost as long as the Brazilian Grand Prix. That's quite a funny information. And also a very funny information, the Zandvoort circuit is longer than the Brazilian circuit. No, it is not. I'm lying. The Red Bull Ring is actually longer than the Brazilian server, yet they do more laps around the Red Bull Ring. No, they do as equal. Well, where? This is bad information. Fake news. Fake news. We need to report them. We need to report their asses. All right, let's have a quick look. Did anyone come into the pits? Yes, they did. Liquid Gas coming into the pits to go onto the hard tires. He's going to try and stretch those till the end of the race. Also, Dean Kong coming into the pits to go onto the medium tires. He might want to make a 2-stopper work for the Williams team. And then Vexman obviously came into the pits. Hybrid Blaze coming into the pits to go onto the soft tires. And Mike Taylor also came into the pits to go onto the medium tires. He, of course, has those broken front wings. So shouldn't worry too much about that, because that has been replaced in the pit lane. Here we go. The safety car coming into the pits. We have got green flags pretty soon. Blood Diamond is going to start this safety car restart. And the funny thing here is that not many people know about the new rule of F1. And that new rule is, of course, that you cannot go side by side with someone when there is a safety car restart. So the guys need to be behind each other. It's green flags and go, go, go. Blood Diamond is already going, and I think he got Thomas. He got caught snapping. Thomas here is getting attacked by Grimo. Down the inside goes Grimo. Is he going to make it down the inside? It seems like Thomas went too deep coming into turn 1. Maybe a switchback from Grimo. Into turn 3 they go, and it won't be an overtake from Grimo. They'll have to wait 2 laps before they can use the DRS, of course. So Grimo won't be able to make that overtake. Dean got past Liquid, and he's also going down the inside of Molson here. Oh man, this is bad camera angle from the game. Seems like Vexman is also trying to get past Liquid Gas now. He's of course on those fresh medium tires. Liquid Gas here on the tail of Molson. Molson, who does have that penalty. He's gone on to, well, he isn't gone onto the hard tires. He's still on old mediums. Mike Taylor now making the overtake on Hybrid Place. Going onto the soft tires probably wasn't the right decision for Hybrid Place. Here comes Liquid Gas, still waiting. Dean Con got past Dom Walsh already, and this is not the right or the best case for Liquid Gas. He's now going around the outside, making the overtake on the AlphaTauri team. And it seems like Mike Taylor is having his hands full with Hybrid Place at the moment. Hybrid Place will try to go around the outside. Didn't really make it work, unfortunately. But Liquid Gas, this is not great. He's definitely losing a lot of time to Deacon at the moment, as Deacon is probably going to make another overtake. Grimo and Thomas going side by side into turn 1. It's a two-way overtake from Deacon. He was trying to make the overtake on Grimo at the same time. Now he's going to go around the outside. Possibly has a better exit. Oh, they have to watch out though. Side by side they go. Deacon and also Monster getting overtaken by Dom Walsh there. Deacon now in P3. His next target is going to be Thomas. Being on those 8-lap-old hards will not be a benefit for the AlphaTauri driver. It seems like Grimo is taking a lot of curb there, coming into turn 7. Hard braking zone, turn 8, turn 9. Long left-hander, guys. I have to watch out. Hybrid Place making a two-way move there on Mike Taylor and Molson. So might want to go back to Dom Walsh, currently in P5 on those hard tires. He'll be able to stretch those for quite some time here till the next safety car, and then go into the medium tires to finish off the race. Whether Deacon still has to come into the pits, probably. On the tail of Thomas, the guys will be able to use DRS after this lap, if I'm not mistaken. Down the straight he goes, around the outside right now. Here comes Deacon. Does he have the straight line speed? It seems like he has a bit of difference. DRS has been enabled, around the outside he goes, and he's already passed Thomas. Going into turn 1, also Monster was trying to make the overtake on Don Walsh. Has to do it out of a switchback. Will that be working for Monster? Doesn't look like it. Liquid Gas still stuck behind these guys. This is not great for Liquid Gas. Now going down the inside of Monster. Will he be throwing it down the inside? Yes, indeed he will. Goes a little bit too deep. Well, too deep, not necessarily, but goes a little bit deeper. Trying to force Monster into a mistake. Because that means that Monster also has to go deeper, and then touching that curb is not always ideal. Molson. Not sure what happened with him, but it seems like he crashed in Sector 2. Entering Sector 2, coming out of Turn 4. And Blood Diamond is definitely taking the lead at the moment, but Deacon is catching up. Deacon is also creating a gap behind him. 1.3 seconds to Thomas W. Grimo is catching up to the Mercedes driver. Around the last corner they go. Still 26 more laps to go here around Brazil. Seems like he has some decent pace. Liquid Gas already made the overtake on Monster. What will it be here down the straight? It won't be able to benefit from that DRS. Seems like Dom Walsh is. No, it's Thomas. No, it's Grimo around the outside of Thomas. But Thomas will be able to use the DRS right now. Coming out of turn 3. Grimo went a little bit deeper into turn 1. Possibly is a little mistake. Thomas will have the DRS. Here he comes. Down the straight he goes. And then Grimo seems to be weaving a little bit there. Thomas around the outside, making the overtake. Beautifully done by Thomas. A little bit of risk to be taken there coming into turn 4, but he made it perfectly. Dom Walsh on 10-lap-old hards, they should be faster than the 10-lap-old mediums at this point during the race, because I'm not sure how long these mediums are lasting for. But a soft medium, I've seen people try it already. Can be done. It can be done. Hybrid Place gained a bit of time to the guys ahead. He made the overtake on Monster 2. But those softs are starting to work into his advantage. We saw his pace throughout the qualifying, so we might be seeing his pace here in the race too. Liquid Gas with the DRS will probably be making the overtake. Vexman now just got past Monster. I think the mediums of Monster are starting to wear off. Don Walsh will have the DRS. So will Grimo. Grimo has got a big different distance to Thomas there. Oh, and look at that. Don Walsh with a lot of risk there. Down the inside. Went all the way off track to make the overtake. Still has the inside line into turn 1. Grimo is not giving up. Will have the DRS coming out of turn 2. Will Don Walsh make a switchback work? It doesn't look like it. DRS wide open for Don Walsh. Or will it be Grimo? It will be Grimo with the DRS. Liquid Gas making the overtake down the inside. Look at that. Beautifully done by Liquid Gas. 6-lap-old hard, so definitely playing in his advantage. Vexman and Hybrid players are having a heated battle, but they shouldn't be battling with each other for too long, because that means they're going to lose some time to Don Walsh and the rest of the grid. Dean Con has made the overtake on Blood Diamond 2. We totally missed that for the lead of the race, but he is in a far, far other city. Far other race than we are racing at the moment, because these guys are all battling for the top 3 position. And Dean Con is just running away, like lap in, lap out. He's gaining 10s after 10s. It's just insane. He still has to come into the pits to go another set of softs or mediums. No, he probably won't be able to go another set of mediums because he already was on the mediums at the beginning of the race. Thomas is going on to the hard tires at the beginning of the race. And here he comes. Down the straight he comes. Nobody will make a move into turn 1 this time around. Primo will have DRS, so he will make an overtake down the straight, possibly, if he has a good exit coming out of turn 3, and it seems like he did. But also Liquid Gas at a pretty decent... oh, the guys swerving all over the place and try to get that slipstream from the guys ahead. Liquid Gas with a good exit, but this is obviously not ideal. He's finding himself in a very difficult position because he's got 2 fast drivers in front of him. But Liquid Gas, he's on the fresher tire, and also his main rival during this race, Dean Con, is running away. He's already losing 7 seconds to Dean Con at the moment, where he was right behind Dean Con after that safety car restart. So this is definitely not ideal for Liquid Gas, but if these guys can keep it consistent, can keep it clean, it shouldn't be too much of a worry for Liquid Gas, because he will take those hard tires till the end of the race. Still has to go 23 laps on those hard tires, so we'll be on 30-lap-old hards at the end of the race. Not sure if you can take those hards that long here in Brazil. He might be open for a late safety car at the end of the race, but so will Dean Con. And if Dean Con is going to come into the pits later, he will be on the freshest tire, so then he will be able to make an overtake again. Grimo around the outside of Thomas. Didn't go too deep coming into turn 1 this time around, so we'll have a better exit coming out of turn 2. I think Thomas is going to get overtaken by Liquid Gas. Liquid Gas using a lot of ERS, draining every ERS he's got in the tank at the moment. Here comes Thomas down the inside. He's going to back out of it, and Liquid Gas might be able to benefit from that. Around the outside, goes off track, has to go off track a little bit because Thomas was closing in on that curb. We saw it earlier with, I think it was Liquid Gas and someone else. You really try to push the other driver a little bit deeper into that turn 4, that they touch the curb or that they go off the curb. And that way they lose a bit of pace coming out of turn 4. So they won't have a good traction because they have to get traction off the curb, which is not always ideal. Here comes Liquid Gas. We saw him do it earlier, making the overtake in turn 11 around the outside. Now they're losing a bit of time to Grimo. I don't think Thomas will be able to make a move down the straight, although he did have a good exit coming out of turn 12, into turn 13, into turn 14. Down the straight they go. Will it be Thomas this time around? Doesn't look like it, although it does look like it. Down the straight he goes. Has a lot of slipstream there from the Mercedes driver, and now makes a move around the outside. Has the inside line now coming into turn 2. Grimo will have the DRS, probably with a switchback here. Liquid Gas will probably be looking at a 2-way overtake there. And are they going 3 wide? Why is this such a bad camera angle? They're not going 3 wide. Grimo now again around the outside. And will Thomas be doing the same? No, Liquid Gas is trying to benefit from that. Is Thomas doing the same to Liquid Gas as Liquid Gas was doing to him a couple of laps ago? Liquid Gas now has the inside line. They're going side by side into turn 7. Always a tricky one. And Thomas now going onto the curb. Has a good line coming out of turn 8, but unfortunately will be overtaken by Liquid Gas. Liquid Gas back into P4, and now he needs to make that overtake on Grimo as soon as possible, although those 14-lap-old mediums still look as fresh as they did in lap 1. Around the last corner they go, and Grimo getting a 3-second time penalty. That is not ideal. We might be seeing plenty of them today from other drivers. Liquid Gas down the straight. Thomas is losing a bit of time to those to those two drivers. Liquid Gas around the outside. Grimo catching that slipstream again. Thomas getting attacked from behind. And once again, a good performance from Vexman. Getting back into that top 6, possibly with a top of 5 position today. And that is what Mercedes needs today. Because Liquid Gas, he's done a good strategy going onto the hard tires, but he still has to come into the pits. So does Grimo, so does Thomas, so does Vexman. And, you know, I feel like he's battling for a P3. He's not really battling for a P2 or a P1. He's battling for a P3. Because he lost more than 10 seconds to Dean Cobb. He's 3 seconds behind Diamond. And he's not really gaining too much time during his battles with Grimo, Thomas, and Vexman. So it's really wondering whether he's eventually gonna benefit from those hard tires. Right now, it seems like he's taking a big gap to Grimo. He's already sliced that up to A10s. Grimo, who also has a penalty, so shouldn't worry about that. Grimo possibly dropping out of the DRS. Look at that. He won't have the DRS anymore down the straight. Thomas will... Well, he also dropped out of the DRS. Look at that. Will come into the pits. The hard tires of Vexman, Thomas are possibly worn out already. Very interesting. Will he be going on to the mediums to finish the race on the mediums? That might be the case. And now Vexman bumped up to P5. A surprising P6 from Dom Walsh again. I think he just didn't have the pace today, or he's too scared to make the overtake. He's just hanging there at the back of this train. And yeah, the question is he ever gonna make the overtake on the guys in front of him, or is he just gonna wait and is he gonna be happy with a P6 here today? 16 lap old Hearts, he'll have to come into pits soon. Still 19 more laps to go. It doesn't seem like much is happening at the moment. We might be able to take a look at the penalties already. Molson at the back of the grid with 6 seconds in total. Mike Taylor with 5. That will probably be because of a speeding in the pit lane. And then we've got 3 seconds for Grimo. Position-wise, we might be looking at that later because we might be seeing an overtake with DRS here down the straight. Although I don't think that both Mercedes will have a battle with each other. Oh, it seems like it is. Vexman down the inside of Grimo, making the overtake. Grimo now side by side is going to back out of it. And they shouldn't be battling too much because they're definitely going to lose too much time to Liquid Gas. But Vexman, of course, being on the freshest tire, it was the logical decision for the Mercedes team. And Grimo might have to come into the pits pretty soon. Here comes Dom Walsh. The tail of both Mercedes drivers. He can definitely not find himself in a sandwich between the Mercedes team, because that will be crucial. That won't be crucial. That will be dangerous for Dom Walsh. And the problem with Dom Walsh is that, you know, when you're in the middle of a Mercedes sandwich, both are equally fast. So they can attack you from behind, but they can also hold you up in order for the guy behind you to make the overtake, and then you're losing basically a position rather than gaining a position. And they're not going to give up. And they're going to work together, trying to get back to you when you're making the overtake on the both of them. And I think that Grimo will have to come into pits pretty soon. Those mediums seem to be worn out already. Down the straight they go. Grimo with a little bit of moving under braking, but nothing too severe. Dom Walsh down the straight. Shouldn't be worried about that penalty too much. You know, Grimo getting that penalty. Dom Walsh will gain a position if he just can keep it. Oh, Grimo is going down the inside in turn 4. Vexman seems to be out of ERS. And both the Mercedes drivers are absolutely planning this perfectly. Look at that. Keeping Dom Walsh behind them for as long as possible. And this is some beautiful teamwork from the Mercedes team. I'm saying it in the interviews week in, week out. These guys are planning it like perfectly. And the important part about this is that now both drivers will score an amazing amount of points. Oh, and Blood Diamond goes off track. Blood Diamond goes off track. And here comes Grimo around the outside. Will Blood Diamond come into the pits because his tires might be overheating and worn out? They still have to go for 16 more laps on that new stint. fuck this, bro. I had the same issue last night. Why can't... Oh, man. My apologies, guys. I don't know what's up with this. I don't know what's up with this. I really don't know. My sincere apologies. I'm so frustrated by this. I'm gonna try something out. I'm gonna try something out for you guys. Hold up. I'm so frustrated by this. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, and I can't type either. Lovely. Oh, man. I need to connect remote play. Alright, guys. I'll be right back, alright? I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back with it again. I have no idea what the quality of the live stream will be, so hopefully, yeah, it won't be bad. I'm just gonna look on the live stream too, just so I know that if I can do this in the next time, well, the next time or not. I don't know if it's lagging or not. Please let me know after the live stream. If you guys are watching right now, please let me know whether the live stream is lagging or not. I can look at that myself actually. So I'm just gonna have a quick look because there is a safety car at the moment and we might be able to get some valuable information on the tires. We do indeed. So Dean went onto the medium tires to go for 13 more laps on those mediums. Liquid has gone onto the softs. Grimo has gone onto the softs. Vexman has gone onto the softs. Dom was on the medium, so is Monster, and then Hybrid Blaze goes into the hard tires. Blood Diamond also goes onto the hard tires, but he's got a penalty. And this is looking very interesting because we've got many different strategies here tonight. Just gonna listen to the live stream real quick, see whether it's glitching or not. Yeah, it's not ideal. From what I'm seeing, it's not ideal. But it's something. I can work around this. Absolutely horrendous. Just switch to a new Wi-Fi system and it's even worse. Absolutely horrendous, guys. Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap. So it will be Dean Khan restarting the safety car, followed by Thomas in P2, Liquid Gas in P3, Blood Diamond in P4, and Grimo in P5. So those guys will be battling for the lead of the race. Dean Khan will probably take a big distance to Thomas already. Thomas is on those old medium tires, and he'll have to be on those medium tires for 12 more laps. So he'll be struggling. I think he's one of the only drivers who's done a two-stopper. Oh, and someone is coming into the pits. That is Monster. Unfortunately, might have a broken front wing. Thomas did not make the overtake into turn 1. Neither did anyone else. Oh, and Blood Diamond is definitely struggling on those hard tires. Grimo is going to eat him alive. Look at that. Down the inside goes Grimo. He's draining a bit of VRS, but backed out of it already. Blood Diamond, who possibly has a bit more straight line speed, lagging all over the place. And both Monster, Molson, and Mike Tyler are coming into the pits. Taylor. Oh, Liquid Gas might be looking at an overtake on Thomas. Will he be going down the inside? Doesn't look like it. Still waiting for that move, and Dean Khan is at the moment running away. Takes a beautiful line coming through turn 10. Here comes Liquid Gas. Right to the outside. We've seen him do it earlier. To turn 12 he goes. Late on the brakes. Almost goes to the back of the AlphaTauri driver. Down the straight they go. Grimo with another 3-second time penalty. Really has to watch out for those 3 seconds. Because he has 6 seconds in total already. Down the straight they go. Liquid Gas, will he be going around the outside? Won't have the DRS yet, as they've just entered lap 26 out of 36. Oh, Liquid Gas with a possible switchback, but caught stuck in the rear of Thomas. And now Dean Khan is definitely running away. Look at that, 1 second to Thomas and Liquid Gas. Thomas, who surprisingly still has a bit of pace on those old medium tires compared to the soft tires of Liquid Gas, and this is not great. Liquid Gas finds himself in a very difficult position because he sees that Dean Khan runs away at the moment, and those softs won't be faster at the end of the race than the mediums of Dean Khan. So he'll have to get past Thomas as soon as possible and try to close down that gap to Deancon, because at the moment it's not working for Liquid Gas, I'm afraid. Grimo in P5. He's also sticking to the toe of Blood Diamond. Oh, might be going down the inside, but backs out of it again. As we're looking at this beautiful helicopter view at the moment, will give us a great view on Liquid Gas, possibly making an overtake down the inside of Thomas. He'll back out of it. And Blood Diamond has found the pace again. Those hard tires will be faster at the end of the race, but when is that switch over point? Here comes Liquid Gas. Down the straight they go. DRS has not been enabled yet. That will be next lap. Fastest lap for Deancon at the moment, a 1:11.3, and Liquid Gas is going down the inside. No, he's choosing the outside line to have the inside line in turn 2. Oh, almost forces Thomas deep into that corner, but he just avoided contact. Thomas back to the toe, around the outside he goes. I think the DRS has already been enabled. Yes, indeed it has. Thomas around the outside, and I think Liquid Gas will force him on the curb again to have a better exit. But it seems like it's not working this time around. Thomas back in P2. 10 lap old medium tires. They will be... I'm not going to say they will be equal at some point during this race, but they will get faster compared to those soft tires. Blood Diamond and Grimo are not necessarily battling for that P3 anymore, but they're battling to get away from the rest of the grid, because Grimo will lose many positions as it looks right now. 6 seconds that will place him all the way in P8 from P5. Now Liquid Gas will have the DRS again. How many seconds does Blood Diamond actually have? 5 seconds in total. That will place him all the way at the back of the grid too. And it seems like Hybrid Blaze has made the overtake on Vexman. Vexman who possibly crashed out. Unfortunately, Liquid Gas making the overtake down the straight. Thomas has to back out. Grimo might be looking at a move. Oh, Dom Walsh making a move down the inside. Will he make a switchback work? DRS wide open coming out of turn 3 for Dom Walsh. Down the straight he goes. And has a beautiful line coming out of turn 3. Has some good pace, some good traction coming out of turn 3, but it won't be enough for Dom Walsh. Doesn't really need to push anything. Because he's going to get P4 anyway. Because Grimo and Blood Diamond both have quite a big amount of penalties. I mean, a big amount of seconds. I'm not going to say a big amount of penalties, because Grimo only has 2, Dom Walsh, Blood Diamond only has 1, but you know what I mean. 5 and 6 seconds are quite a bit of penalties. I mean, a bit of time. Dom Walsh back in P6. He's gonna gain time, he's gonna gain a position, but he cannot stay behind Grimo and Blood Diamond for too long if he wants to make the overtake on Thomas. Thomas has just lost the toe off Liquid Gas there. Oh man, Brazil is such a bad track to commentate on, because the camera angles are so bad around this track. Oh, and a yellow flag in Sector 2 that it will be unfortunately Molson. Blood Diamond back in P3. Making the overtake on Thomas, and also Dom Walsh got past Grimo there. Hybrid Blaze sticking to the toe of the Mercedes driver. Here comes Dom Walsh. No, it's Thomas. Making the overtake on Blood Diamond again down the straight, and they'll definitely lose some time to Liquid Gas. So I'm not sure whether Liquid Gas will be able to catch up to Deancon at the moment. Blood Diamond still sticking around the outside. Will he be making a switchback work into turn 7? Fast on the throttle, but he won't be able to make it work. And I'm really surprised seeing him getting a penalty, because usually he's one of the more consistent guys. And the 5-second time penalty is really just a bit clumsy. You know, coming into the pits, you know you shouldn't be go faster than you can, and some people still go faster than they are allowed to. So a little bit of a DRS strain here, all the way from P3 to P7. So those are 5 positions, of course: P3, P4, P5, P6, and P7. And Deancon once again with the fastest lap of 1:10.7. So we can definitely say he might be our race winner already today. Blood Diamond around the outside of Thomas, and maybe Dom Walsh will be benefiting from that mistake by Thomas. I mean, not really a mistake. He didn't have the DRS, so nothing he can do about that. Down the straight they go. Blood Diamond already drained all of his DRS, so he might get eaten by both Dom Walsh and Thomas in the next couple of laps. He won't be able to drain any ERS anymore to defend his position. Let's have a quick look how many Thomas still has. About 30%. How much does Dom Walsh have? More than 50%. And Blood Diamond now gets an extra 3-second time penalty, so that will definitely do him no good. And he'll be dropped back behind Grimo, because Grimo only has 6 seconds. Blood Diamond now has 8 seconds. And he also has no ERS left. This is going to be a bad end of the race. And it's getting cloudy out here in Brazil. Might we see some rain at the end of the race? That would give some great spectacle. Spectacle, is that a word? That would give a spectacular end of this race, is what I should say. Hyperplay sticking to the toe of Grimo. I think he will be able to make that overtake. Using a lot of ERS to get past the Mercedes driver. Is Grimo using any ERS? I have no idea. But Hyperplace is going around the outside. It does not have the pace down the straight, unfortunately. He goes onto the grass a bit too much. Grimo down the inside of Dom Walsh. I think Dom Walsh was trying to make it. Oh, Hyperplace almost losing the car there. Here comes Grimo. DRS wide open. Using a little bit of ERS. Still has plenty of left in the tank, but so does Dom Walsh, of course. But Diamond trying to make a move around the outside, and he does indeed make a move around the outside, but goes onto the curb a bit too aggressive. We saw him do it earlier. Now Dom Walsh, a yellow flag in Sector 2. That will be Mawson, who retired from the session. There won't be a safety car. Oh, and the Mercedes driver goes into the back of the Alfa Romeo driver. Oh, this is really bad. Lost his front wing underway. And does he have to come into the pits now? I don't think he should come into the pits. Because he's got that penalty anyway. And I think Vextman... I'm not sure. Grimo, you should have been more aware of the delta, mate. You should have been more aware of the delta. Still a virtual safety car. 5 more laps to go here around Brazil. And I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Demo Invest. The owner of Demo Invest is Gregory Mortier. And he does come into the pits, Grimo. The stream has been provided to you by Demo Invest. Demo Invest is specialized in stock trading. They're also partnering with a education platform. So make sure to check them out if you're interested in investing. I can assure you that Gregory is a very trustworthy person, and he'll try to get as much money out of your money as possible and give that back to you. That was a bit of a sponsor talk. Oh, by the way, his Instagram is Gregory.Mortier_official on Instagram. So if you want to hit him up, make sure to do so. Thomas in P3. He's lost 5 seconds to Liquid Gas. Liquid Gas has lost 5 seconds to Deancon, and it's just insane how good Deancon is in that Williams car. It's the worst car on the grid, yet he's the fastest on the grid. It's insane to me. And I love the fact that these guys all have different, like, that it's realistic performance. Because if it weren't realistic performance, Deancon would have such a big gap to the rest of the grid. Here comes Blood Diamond making the overtake on Thomas. Beautifully done by the Alpine driver. Now Thomas will possibly make a switchback work. While coming out of turn 2 and turn 3, he will have the DRS, so down the straight he goes. And once again, Blood Diamond having no ERS. He didn't save any during that safety car. Well, virtual safety car, but still. He didn't save any during that virtual safety car. What a mistake from Blood Diamond. I think he drained everything down that first straight, which is a mistake. Because Thomas had 50% saved. Here comes Blood Diamond. Oh, and he's got that penalty too. This is not looking great for Blood Diamond. It's a four-way battle for P3 at the moment, but it feels like a one-way battle between Thomas and Blood Diamond, and Dom Walsh and Hyperplace are not really giving too much resistance at the moment. Liquid Gas is catching up though. He went from 5 seconds to 4.4 seconds. I don't think it'll be enough because he needs to gain more than 1.5 seconds each lap to be able to get back to Deancon, but it's a start. It's a start, and you don't know whether those medium tires are giving in already. Here comes Blood Diamond down the straight. Oh, I think it will be Dom Walsh making the overtake this time around. Around the outside he goes. Will it be a two-way move? It will be a two-way move. Dom Walsh making a two-way move around the outside of Thomas at the moment. Beautiful overtake there from Dom Walsh. And he had that ERS saved. I didn't know he was going to use it already. Thomas now with the DRS. They're going 3 wide down the straight. They're going 3 wide out of the straight. Can they make it out alive? It does look like it. Dom Walsh back to P5. And Blood Diamond is definitely making it very interesting here in this battle between Thomas and Dom Walsh. Because now Thomas is back into P3. You never know. You don't know who's going to get P3. Will it be Don Walsh trying to make a two-way overtake down the straight again? Or will it be Blood Diamond? No, it probably won't be the Blood Diamond. Will it be Thomas keeping that P3? Usually that second straight is just to keep your position. But these guys are really draining their ERS and DRS down that second straight to make the overtake again, to make the... I mean, it's not called a switchback, but I'll call it the switchback for now. To make the switchback again. And look at Liquid Gas, 2.8 seconds at the moment. He's definitely catching up to Deancon. Uh-oh, this might... he's just pushed a little bit too late, I think. Liquid Gas. Oh, man, this is really unfortunate. If he can gain 1.5 seconds this lap, he might be able to get a race win. He might be able to get a race win, because coming around the last corner, he will have DRS straight away. And a lot of guys make a move down the last straight in the last lap. Here comes Don Walsh down the straight. Once again, Blood Diamond having no ERS. We might want to delete those tires, and we want to look at the position changes. Thomas with 4 positions gained. Don Walsh with a good 3 positions gained. Unfortunate about his bad qualifying. He would have gotten a better position, I think, if he qualified a little bit better. But now in contention for P3. We definitely want to speak to Don Walsh, because we haven't had him in the comments box yet, if I'm not mistaken. Blood Diamond is really trying to disturb both Thomas and Don Walsh. And interestingly enough, Thomas and Don Walsh were one of the only drivers starting on the hard tires during the beginning of this race. So a very interesting strategy from the both of them. And it's paying off. It's paying off. They went from hards to mediums, if I'm not mistaken. Don Walsh now down the straight. Will he be making a two-way overtake? Doesn't look like it. It'll only be on Thomas. No, he's backing out of it. He's backing out of it, so he has the DRS down the second straight. Blood Diamond is taking the lead of this pack. And Hybrid Blaze lost some time to the rest of the guys. Now DRS wide open for these two. Thomas will take P4 again. And I think Don Walsh has made a little mistake. He needs to get past Blood Diamond as soon as possible, but can't get past him. Was a little bit too far back. And now gets a 3-second time penalty. Oh, that is really bad for Don Walsh. So that means he's going to drop back to P5. Well, he's going to stay in P5 because he's going to gain a position to Blood Diamond, but lose a position to Hybrid Blaze. Remo gaining a position from Vexman, although he does have that penalty, so won't gain too much out of it. Monster in P10. Let's go back to P4, as this will be the Battle of Dooms. Well, not necessarily, because it seems like Thomas is going to get that P3. Dean coming around the last corner to grab your race win here in Brazil in the Axis Mainstream Racing Series. Beautifully done by the Williams driver. Liquid Gas coming across the line to grab P2, and then we've got Thomas in P3. Hybrid Blaze making the overtake on... Oh, wait, what happened to Blood Diamond? I think he crashed out. He had too much pressure on the shoulders. And it's really unfortunate about that penalty from Don Walsh, because I feel like that was a bit of a restriction from him getting a P3, a podium position. Jamie in the chat, aka Deancon, says, I wasn't struggling, I was saving for to go for the fastest lap again, just in case the Mercs tried to go for it. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's have a quick look what the fastest lap was. Oh, never mind. I wasn't able to see. I think driver of the day goes to either Thomas or Don Walsh, but I could be wrong. I think it'll probably go to Don Walsh. No, to Thomas. Driver of the day, Thomas. Well done, mate. You've done a great job. And let's have a quick look with the strategies too. I think this will give us some information about how many stops that were made. Yes, indeed. The top two have both gone onto a 2-stopper. Thomas has gone onto a 1-stopper. It definitely paid off as he came all the way from P7. Hybrid Blaze moved back up to P4. And then, of course, we had Don Walsh in P5. Fastest lap goes to Deancon with a 110.7. Liquid Gas with a 111.2. Not too far. 5/10s. Vexman went from P10 to P6 after a broken front wing. And also crashing out. So it's really interesting to see that he gained that many positions. I also think it's because Blood Diamond had a penalty, 8 seconds. Grimo had 6 seconds, so he gained a bit of time off that. Monster getting in P9, Mike Taylor in P10. Then we have our two DNFs being Molson and Get Smurfed. Congratulations, Hybrid. You've done a great job getting from P2 to P4. You didn't have a great race start. I think you dropped back to P7 or P8, but you climbed back up again. Really good job by Hybrid Blaze. Guys, we're going to make ourselves ready for the for the interviews, of course, because we're gonna have the top 3 with us again. I'm just gonna ask you to be patient, so we will be right back with it again, and I hope you guys are gonna stick around. All right, guys, we're back with it again. Now, again, with the top 3, like we're doing each week. We're going to start with our P3 for the night. Thomas, welcome and congratulations, mate. How was the race through your eyes?
Challenging. Very, very good race, especially with Power and Blood defending hard. As defending the hardest I could tonight. the second safety car messed me up a little bit because I think I had the undercut for most of the pack. Weren't going to catch the Williams, so I was racing the pack of Haas, Jack in the Haas, Dom in the Alpha, Grimo in the Mercedes, Blood, Diamond as well in the Alpine, and that second safety car hampered me, so I had to make the decision to stay out on mediums. But no, it was a good night.
Yeah, I mean, that last couple, those last couple of laps were really exciting. You know, you had that battle between yourself, Blood Diamond, and Dom Walsh, and I think at some point Dom Walsh made a two-way overtake on you and Blood Diamond. Was that the point where you really thought this is going to be over for me? I'm going to drop back to P4 and Dom Walsh is going to away with the P3, or what was your thoughts on that double overtake from Dom Walsh throughout the race?
I never saw him coming. He was that bloody quick coming up that straight. But throughout all of probably most of that restart, as long as I was braking into turn one to let them go by, so I could stick behind them and then get the second DRS toe down to the turn four. So that was my tactic throughout all of that, was to just, if they're trying to pass me, let them go around me into turn one and then get the better line out of three and into four. But when we were three wide up to turn four, that was a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, Blood Diamond had a big penalty tonight. If I'm not mistaken, it was 8 or 11 seconds. I don't recall how many seconds he had. But how much of a crucial player was Blood Diamond with your battle with Dom Walsh? We know you sometimes made the overtake on Blood Diamond, and then he made the overtake again, and then Dom Walsh was trying to get mixed in. But how much of a valuable key player was he getting your P3 there?
He was very handy, but I think the fact that we were all racing really, really close, it did slow us up from the front two, and it just slowed us massively up because we were all being careful as well, watching each other. But have Blood and Dom DRSing down into turn one, and knowing that Dom couldn't make the move on to Blood, it just helped. I think if Blood got in front of me and Dom took the inside out into turn one, I would have dropped to P4. I always managed to keep it on the inside as much as I could. So massive help from Blood, and massive respect from Dom and Jason on the track.
Yeah, I mean, 2 more races to go. I know we've been talking about this week in, week out, but there's 2 more races on the calendar. I think there's Qatar and Imola. How are your expectations going further into those 2 races? Dom Walsh is back at it again. He might be one of the guys who's going to steal your podiums, those races. And also we saw some very good plays from Blood Diamond today. So going into those 2 races, what are your expectations, and what are you hoping to get? You guys there?
Yep. I think the championship's done. I think the only way for me to sort of possibly potentially take it back again is if something happens to Jack. He's been mega all season, so I'm just looking now to keep all P2 in the championship and just have some really, really solid racing like tonight. Qatar potentially could be good for me. I do feel quick around Qatar. Imola again is another quick track, and Imola's always known for a bit of rain as well, which is always handy. But yeah, championship's done. I'm just here for some really high fight racing tonight.
Yeah, one more thing about that championship is done statement. Do you think the championship wouldn't have been done if the point system were different? For example, if now the P1 gets 15 points, if I'm not mistaken. If that changes to 25 points, like the actual F1 season, and Liquid Gas would, I mean, DNF in a race, you would gain more points than you would gain now when you gain a race win. Do you think that is something you have to look into further into next season and seasons after, or what is your opinions about the 15-point race win system?
I mean, it's 3 points between second and first, and then it's 2 points between third and second. So it keeps it tight, and like if Jack has one bad night, it potentially could reward me with 15 points, 12 points, which could bring it close together. I think if we relied on the 25 points and the 18 points, Jack's very quick and he's won a lot of the races. I think I've picked up 2 wins possibly. Jack's pretty much picked up the rest. So the gap would have been far too big to do anything. Feel that these points keep it close. You've got to finish the race. So we saw in Miami, Jack didn't finish the race, and all of a sudden I was back right behind him within a couple of points. So if he has a DNF at Imola, championship could sway again. But no, something we're always looking at in the background. Points, different ruling to try and keep the grid tight, keep it close, and we always keep a run in the background of if it was different point system to see how the championship table would look like. But I think, like I said, I think if it was standard points, it would have been done now with 2 races to go.
Okay, thank you very much, Don Walsh. Once again, Don Walsh, what am I saying? Thomas, congratulations again on that top 3 position today. You've done a great job getting from P7 to P3 tonight. Then we're going to go back to our P2. And, I mean, for how many races have you been on the podium already? Congratulations, Liquid Gas in P2. How was the race through your eyes?
Well, I don't know. It started off quite simple. You know, I mean, quali was a tough one. I mean, hybrids out of nowhere, he really put in a solid lap, and that was his banker lap actually, which was good enough for P1. I managed to just about get that at the end. I don't think Deancon, I don't think Jamie got a representable lap in quali in the end. As he said, he was trying to acclimatise to the track, and yeah, the race started out fairly simple, and then the early safety car was triggered, and from there it was hards to the end to maybe box 8 for a set of softs. And then, yeah, I mean, I kind of got hindered in that first restart. Jamie managed to blitz past a few people on his mediums. My hards were still warming. You know, I mean, ultimately all I had in my head was championships on the line. You don't need to make moves straight away. I was patient, made the moves. Then the safety car was called at an awkward time because I went for the softer compounds this evening, knowing how well the softs and the mediums run on this track. So I'd already used my mediums, therefore I had to go for the softs on that last stint, and a 16-lap stint on the softs, I think it was, isn't impossible here, but it's not very nice to the tyres towards the end. So after that, it was just all about, you know, if Jamie had the pace, similar to last week, let him go off down the road and just concentrate on keeping Tom behind. And in the end, it resulted in 2 extra valuable points tonight towards the championship.
Yeah, I mean, you've done a great job. As Thomas said before, the championship is probably already over. I don't know if you see it the same that way, because you could be crashing in 2 races and Thomas could just be winning the races week in, week out. Going further into next season, what are your expectations for next season? Are you already practicing, planning anything for next season? I'm not sure if I'm right. We're going to be running equal performance cars. So how will that work? Because right now you're in one of the slowest cars on the grid. Won't you have a lot of pace difference compared to the guys who are running Red Bulls or Mercedeses?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, in terms of you know, what am I looking for next season is nothing different to this. To be honest, I've been P1 or P2 in every single race except for Miami, where I got an unfortunate DNF. So I've been right where I've needed to be all season. So I'm hoping to keep that going as we go forward. Yeah, we are looking at equal cars for next season. Just to, you know, with it being the new game, we don't necessarily know how the game's going to run, how the pace is. You know, I've acclimatized to this game pretty well in terms of pace. So, you know, with the game changes and how far they're now trying to push the realism and the handling of the cars, it's just good to get a baseline over a season before we then try and place people in pace-appropriate cars.
What I'm thinking as a commentator is that would make the races a bit more boring, because right now in the qualifying we saw 110 gap all the way from P1 to P4. We saw a 310 gap. We saw a 110 gap between P6 and P7, for example. Going into an equal performance car season, I think that the gaps will be too big, because right now Gregory in the fastest car on the grid, he's even struggling to keep up with the rest of the guys. So he'll probably even lose more time. So will the other Red Bull driver, who unfortunately today DNF'd. Wouldn't it be smarter if you as an admin team decided to do a pre, for example, testing where every driver will have to do laps for 1 hour straight and compare those times and maybe decide what car is best for those drivers based on those times? Or is that not something you're looking into as an admin team, like the equal performance car? Has it been decided already?
Of course, I mean, I understand the concern of, when equal cars are involved, it's not, everybody can run the best setup in the game, and ultimately the fastest driver will come out on top because there's nothing to separate the cars. But when we're looking into that, we're thinking that if we've done an hour of testing or, a similar way, you never really can tell who's putting more fuel in the car, who's trying to... Everybody can say they're giving it their all, right? But until you're the one holding that steering wheel, holding that controller, do you really know if they're giving it their all? Whereas I think if we look over a season, it's very difficult to go into a season and accept not winning. I think it's quite painful turning up week after week, almost for nothing. It's always good to have something on the line. And yeah, I mean, as you say, it may become a little bit tedious, but it's something that, sometimes to find out these things, you have to make, take risks, calculated risks, so to speak. At the moment, it is still in discussion with what we're going to do moving forward, but as I say, we calculate these things. We do. We're going to start putting out some polls possibly in the next couple of weeks to get some driver input and feedback, and we've got a little idea tab in the Discord as well. So if anyone ever has an idea they'd like to bring up, it's always up for discussion, and we're happy to keep that conversation open for now.
There we go. So you guys have heard it. Make sure to drop IDs if you have any. Anything is welcome, of course. It will give the admins a bit of a view of how you look at how this league should be run. I mean, should be run is maybe a bad way to say it, but any suggestions are welcome. Thank you very much, Liquid Gas. Of course, we haven't talked too much about the race today, but it was a very straightforward race from your part. Once again, a podium. Once again, a top 2 position. Like you said yourself, you've been there every week, except for Miami, and I'm not expecting anything else next season. Congratulations.
Thank you, mate.
DeanCon, another upcoming story is what I should say. Being placed in the slowest car on the grid, and you even got the race win tonight. Let's have a quick look how the race was through your eyes.
Yeah, I think the race went quite well, pretty straightforward. It was more exciting at the start, and then I think it died down a little bit towards the end. It didn't become as tense or exciting. It was quite particularly interesting to start P3 because you're sort of in the pack. You don't know how it's going to go into turn 1, who's going to do anything around you. And I was on the harder compound tyre, and I think that made it quite interesting at the start. Because obviously I'm a little bit slower because of the tyre compound, and obviously I'm in the slowest car, so it makes things a little bit unpredictable in a way. But after that, it sort of became pretty straightforward, especially since I got through the pack quite easily.
Fair enough, mate. I'm just wondering, as a race win contender, going into a race like this, what is usually your thought process about safety cars and your strategies? Because obviously, going into a race like Brazil, you might think there's going to be 1 or 2 safety cars, and how do you reflect your strategy on that? And do you change the way you go with a strategy when the race is happening? Like, for example, we saw that early safety car. Do you stick with your strategy? Do you go for another strategy? What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, I sort of not predicted it, but prepared for it from the start. Normally I would run a harder compound, but I didn't do any laps before this, so I thought I would get like 5 laps on a balanced compound set in quali. And I started on the hards because I thought if there's an early safety car, 2 mediums can pretty much run to the end. And when this first safety car did come out, my thought process was to get away from liquid gas and get a 2-stop in, because I was going to stop again from mediums or possibly softs later down the line. Obviously, the next safety car came out, and I had the option between the medium or the softs. I think where there was a few more laps towards the end, I know the softs can go quite a while. Like any tyre can go quite a while here. Like the hards can easily go 25 laps, but yeah, I thought the mediums would be a little bit better towards the end, and especially I had almost as that barrier there, so that was quite fine.
Yeah, I mean, you've done a great job. You were there during the qualifying in Spa. You were there last week. I think you got the race win last week, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the race win last week. You got the race win today. Can we expect more from you in Qatar and in Imola and potentially in the next season?
Definitely. I think I have the ability to win every race this season. Well, Qatar then Imola. Although Qatar is quite a tough one because you really have to be quick, and the turning is like there's a lot of turns there, and that's sort of the weakness of these cars behind. But I'll still aim to win every race. I think it will be quite challenging next race. That will be the hardest test so far, Qatar. But I think it would also be refreshing at the same time, especially for everyone else, because Hybrid plays, he was quite fast, and he's in the Ferrari Brazil, so I think he might flourish even more and challenge me even more at Qatar. And I think that's what everyone really wants, like you as a commentator, me as a driver, and the grid as a whole, because when drivers are close together, anything can happen.
100%. One last thing that I'm going to be asking you, as you're not, well, obviously Thomas and Liquid are both members of the admin team. You're not a member of the admin team, neither am I. What's your thoughts on the new, on the current point system and the current car regulations? Do you think the fact that realistic performance, that realistic performance is used, do you think that's an upgrade from equal performance, or do you think equal performance should be used? And what's your opinion about the current point system where a race winner gets 15 points?
To be honest, I don't really mind about the point system. My goal is to win every race, and I think I have the ability to win every race, so it doesn't matter how many points there is, because I'm still going to come away with the maximum amount. But when it comes to realistic performance cars, I think that's better, because because it's challenging, and it's, I don't want to say easy, but it's somewhat not really of a challenge now in the Williams. So when it goes to equal, like anyone can blast off, unless if maybe we do reverse championship grid or something, or just, I don't know, don't use a setup or something, because I can see the grid getting a little bit more boring because I'm in the slowest car and I'm winning. So when we're in equal terms, I'm just going to be able to blast off. So I would go as far as to say as realistic cars and a reverse championship grid. Obviously, I'm not up there in the championship now, but next season, sorry, I'll definitely be up there. So, and I think it's better. It's what you want. It's what I want. You give some of the slower drivers something to look forward to. They're racing at the front, changes the strategy. And you've got to think about the faster guy. Can I start on that harder compound? Because I'm near the back and I'm going to be slower than everyone else on this harder compound, and I've got to get through the grid. So it adds another layer of unpredictability, and I think that's something that's sort of needed because, yeah, at the moment, it's becoming a little bit too predictable. I mean, maybe if Thomas or Dom go in faster cars, I'm not really too sure at the minute because at the moment there's a large gap out front between all the drivers.
Okay, well, thank you very much, mate. You've done a great job. Another race win for you. We're looking forward to see you again next week and the week after. I'm gonna let you guys go. We've been here for I think 15 minutes or even more during this interview. So, guys, I'm gonna thank you very much, and I wish you guys a pleasant evening.
Yes, thank you. You too.
And that will be at the end of this live stream, guys. Thank you very much for watching the live stream. Make sure to give a thumbs up if you liked this live stream. Also, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Check out Demo Invest, our sponsor, if you haven't already too. They're specialized in investing into stock, and they're also partnering with a education platform. So that does mean they are trustworthy, guys. I would like to thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.